Hello?
Hello.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Alan, great to hear from you. I'm good.
You too. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. Hopefully you could hear me okay, too.
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you for joining us today on the Music on the Menu podcast series. Been doing them for about 3 weeks now, talking to musicians from northeastern Pennsylvania, kind of about how they're working their way through COVID-19. And then we talk about some other stuff as well. So for those tuning in, listening online, I've got on the line today Mike Miz. Mike is one of NEPA's best musicians and songwriters. He's released records, East Hope Avenue, Parking Meters, a year ago today. Really some of the best records that have ever been released by regional artists here in northeastern Pennsylvania, in my opinion. He's been a guest on the radio show with me many times. We've done a lot of live events together, and it's a pleasure to have him on the phone this morning. Mike, thanks for taking some time.
Oh, you got it. Thank you. Good to be talking to you.
Mike, the last time I talked to you on the phone was only 5 months ago. It wasn't a real long time ago. It was just before the holidays, around Thanksgiving time. We got on the phone and talked about your upcoming show in Nashville. You were in Nashville at the time, but you were coming home for a holiday show at the Jazz Cafe. You were doing the Clapton show. I was just, reposted that interview up on the Music on the Menu Facebook page, and I said it seems like 5 years ago, because of, really what's happened over the past 6 weeks. You're calling today from Bethel, correct?
Yeah, I know it does. It seems like a lifetime ago. Yeah, I'm actually, I left the house because the service is kind of funny. So I'm actually sitting right at the field of the original 1969 Woodstock Festival right now. I'm looking at it as we speak because there's good service here.
So wow.
Yeah,
Mike, we got to talk about that for a minute then, because
sure.
I love it there. I've been to the monument a couple of times recently. I was just there last summer. I went up for the 50th anniversary weekend, saw Ringo Starr. I saw Sting up there.
Hey, I opened that show, man.
Yeah, you
Not
were
on the main stage, but I played the side stage before Ringo. Yeah,
in that field. Yeah. I mean, I just think there's something there, man. I mean, there's a vibe there that you could still feel when you stand there. At least that's how I feel. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I really do. I get I've had a lot of great experiences here over the years, especially since my mom lives just down the road. And I'm up here all the time, so I love it. Yeah, it's one of my favorite places, especially in the summer when it's a sunny day. You can't beat it.
And the amphitheater is really something. I mean, it's one of the most it is the most beautiful amphitheater I've ever been to. I mean, it's just gorgeous. What a great place to see. That's just so well done, because the field where the concert was held is the same. The monument's there, and then you only walk, what is it, maybe 200 yards, 300 yards, 5-10 minute walk, tops, and then you're at one of the most beautiful amphitheaters in the United States.
It really is. They really did it right. And then they have that like rotunda or whatever you would call it. I know Sean Colvin actually is supposed to be playing the indoor one, I think, next week. I don't think that's happening, but they really did it right. I agree. It's one of the most beautiful, especially for an outdoor venue. I really don't think you could get a better spot.
Well, there's something kind of appropriate there's something very appropriate, Mike, about you and I doing this interview from you standing at the side of Woodstock, because you would have fit right in there that day 51 years ago, my friend. I think you would have been a perfect artist on that bill. But one of the questions that I always start off these interviews with, and we're going to talk about how this has affected you as a musician, COVID-19, and I want to talk to you about what the vibe is down in Nashville and some of the songs that you've been working on. But I'd like to kick things off with just, of course, how you doing? I mean, you've been up there, you said you've been, with your mom for a while, right? I guess you maybe planned a visit, and then this whole thing broke down and you couldn't leave?
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to tell a quick story about the Woodstock site here, a recent one, so don't let me forget that. But
I'll talk to you about Woodstock all day, Mike. Don't worry.
Okay, I'll start with that real quick because
well,
no, let me start with here. I'll finish them. I'll answer them both. So I was down in Nashville in January. I was actually just leaving a gig. I got a phone call from my mom and my Nana, my grandmother, we call her Nana on the Irish side of the family. She was 92, and she had a kind of some bad like test results and stuff like that, and had to go into the hospital. And my mom basically called me and was like, "Hey, you better get up here and see your Nana." And I was really, really, really close with her. And so I came up. I left my house late January. I think it was the last week of January. I thought I was coming up for a week or two, and I have not been back to my home in Nashville since. I came up here, ended up staying with Nana. She got out of the hospital. It looked like it was going to be okay. I was kind of helping the family take care of her, and then she took a turn for the worst and ended up passing away in late February. Which, she had a long, beautiful, wonderful life, a great woman. It was, none of us are getting out of this alive, so it's part of life. And so I went through, that, the funeral, all the other stuff. Then I, figured after all that, well, geez, I might as well go up and see Mom and see some friends. And I went to the Poconos for a little while and then came up just to visit Mom and just to spend another week or two with her. We were both, like I said, really close with Nana. And then as I came up here, this whole thing just started to unfold. And it's been crazy, man. So I've been here ever since.
I didn't realize you'd been there since January. So wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I am planning on heading back home to Nashville in the next few weeks. I'm kind of keeping very close eye and talking to my friends down there. They're opening the city back up, I think, like this week. They're slowly, they're really going for it down there. They want everything to be open again, and I'm going to keep an eye on it. I know my roommates are super safe, and they're on the ball with this whole COVID thing, and I have been too. It's another thing I'll get to in a second, but yeah, so that's where I'm at here, and I'm hoping to be able to get down to Nashville soon because they don't seem to be as affected by it as upstate New York. I'm in upstate New York now, and it's quite honestly a bit terrifying up here. Going to get groceries or gas is even. I don't know. I'm terrified by it. I know others aren't, but if you look at the numbers of what's going on in New York City and upstate New York, it's pretty scary, and it's really sad. But
well, first, Mike, let me offer my condolences on the passing of your Nana. I was very, very close with mine as well. As a matter of fact, yesterday would have been her birthday. I always usually put. Oh, she's been gone a long time, my friend. She's been gone since 1984. I was 16 years old. But they stay with you. They are. There's nothing like a good grandmother, man. That stays with you your whole life. So you're blessed to have had that, and my condolences.
Yep. Thank you.
And yeah, I mean, New York City is just, that's the war zone in all this. And you're not that far away, upstate a little bit, but when Governor Cuomo gets on and gives his daily briefings, he's talking about the entire state of New York and what it's going through. So it is a little bit unnerving. As we get into this now, I think it's day 45 for me being at home for the most part, except for running some basic errands, groceries and food.
Same,
To see the people with the masks, and you realize, man, this is crazy stuff. So I understand, your anxiety, and I'm sorry to hear that you're going through that up there in New York, probably more than anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, I've been really good. But thank you. Yeah, it is. It's just kind of, when you watch Como and you watch the news, and I do think Como's doing a great job, and we watch him a lot. You watch the news, and it's just like, wow. Sometimes I actually can't watch the news. I have to take breaks. I have to take intermittent days where I watch the Flintstones instead. it's tough, man. But my heart really goes out to anybody who's affected by this and who's struggling. And I personally know, a few people who have it and had it and went through it. And I know another guy who's in Yonkers who's really struggling. He's had it for weeks now, and he just can't seem to get better. And my heart breaks for him, and it's scary, man.
Yeah, well, I wish we're keeping all those people in our thoughts and prayers, and that's why we're doing this. I mean, I was supposed to be at a Sting concert tonight in Philly with my sister, and we were looking forward to that since I think.
Oh man,
I think she got the tickets at Christmas time. Maybe it's been quite a few months, and hey, you're bummed out about it, and you kind of feel like, oh, something was taken away from us, but. Hey, listen, Sting's not going anywhere, God willing, and hopefully neither are we. We'll catch him next year. I mean, we're doing this for the greater good, and so it's hard to kind of feel sorry for yourself about things like that when there are people. Over 60,000 people have died.
I know, man.
More people than died in the Vietnam War.
Than war, I know.
Yeah, and maybe some. People say, well, they were older people anyway. Well, you know what? If you were 75, but maybe you would have had 10 more years if you didn't get COVID-19. That's a long time.
It is a long time.
It's a big chunk of your life that's been robbed from you because of this illness. And so, as we get deeper into it and people get a little frustrated and a little antsy, we got to remind ourselves of that. I feel anyway.
I totally agree, man. And one thing that bums me out is, we're all making comparisons to the Great Depression and the Spanish
Spanish flu.
Yeah. Here, my phone's beeping. I had to turn that off. We're making all these comparisons to other national sort of times like these, and the thing about it is that I keep coming back to is like, man, we're really lucky. We all have 24-hour entertainment. I mean, most of us do. We have the internet, we have TV, we have our cell phones. We're stuck at home, which isn't the worst thing that's ever happened. I know some people are really feeling the financial stress and stuff like that, and that's another part of it. But in the end of it, it's like, I know for me, I feel as though I really lucked out, and I have a lot to be grateful for. I mean, we're on a few acres of land. I wake up every day. I meditate, I do yoga, I go for walks in the woods, and I play my guitar all day, and I really, really don't have a lot to complain about. And I've been stacking and cutting wood, which has been another kind of fun thing to do. I chainsawed a few trees down, which is a new activity for me. They were dead trees, and they're using to burn for firewood next year, but honestly, it's all in all, I have a lot to be really grateful for, and I'm with family, so.
Yeah, right. And you're right, Mike. I mean, you look at that the Spanish flu of 1918.
Yep.
No radio in the house. No television.
Right.
No telephone. Forget, internet and all. That's 70, 80 years away yet. But I mean, you could. The only, those people got criticized for maybe, getting a little frustrated with social distancing, and they, I guess after the war ended, a lot of them went out and they had some celebrations, and then there was a big reoccurrence of the virus. But you got to kind of give them a pass too. I mean, they didn't have the communication, they didn't have the info that we had. They didn't get the CNN update on their phone every 5 minutes, and
right.
So they're hunkered down. They can't communicate with anybody other than write a letter in the mail,
Right, yeah.
I mean, that was the only way.
Terrifying, man.
And so, it was a whole different world. We're going through something similar, yes, but is it similar? Not really at all. I watched the Bruce Springsteen Broadway thing on Netflix last night and was highly entertained for 2 hours. I wasn't staring at my walls like the people were doing, 100 years ago. You've been having, it seems to me, a pretty good time with your streams. I've been enjoying watching them, and you're live from homes. Talk to us a little bit about that. You've done a bunch of them now.
Yeah, sure. So that brings up a great point. So I got up here, and then within a week or two, it was at first I was like everyone else. I was like, come on, I'm stay home, or not when it first started, not when quarantine. When quarantine started, I was like, okay, this is serious,
Mm-hmm.
But like the week or two before that, I was like, oh, my mom was talking about it. This is a serious thing. And I'm like, yeah, we'll see. But then quarantine happened, and then, of course, like all my other musician friends, I lost all my work, for the next 3 months. They one by one, it just started going boom, 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 losing, and now I'm lucky. I've been working hard the last few years, and I'm in an all right place, and I'm not starving, and, I'm thankful my rent's paid and all that other stuff. But, so I figured, hey, I might as well I've never done a live thing in my life, so I might as well do the live thing. So I did one or two. I did one for my friends in Tennessee, and it went well. You start figuring out where to put the camera, how to set up the light, how to, all these little funny things that you'd never think of, and what to say, what not to say. In between songs is awkward because you're playing your heart out, and then you end the song, and it's just silence. And you're like,
yeah.
Oh, thanks, everybody, like as if you're talking to a crowd.
Yeah.
I've gotten really used to it in the last few weeks, and I think I've grown a lot from it. And people have been tuning in, which has been great. I've had a steady, steady bunch of people that are just always waiting for me, and they're always excited, and they love it, and they're commenting, and they're talking to me while I'm playing, and it's been a blast, man. I've been having a great, like, when I get done, by the time I get done with it and I share the video, it's generally already, close to, between like 1,500 and 2,000 views, and by the next morning it'll be like 4,000 people have watched it. So that's way more people than I was playing for on a weekly basis anyway.
Sure.
I'm sure it's not 4,000 people sitting watching the whole thing, but people are checking it out. They're watching a tune. They're breezing by like we all do on social media. But it's pretty cool. So my whole sort of thing, I watched, the likes have gone up and all that other stuff. But quick funny story before I forget. So I'm right down the road from Woodstock, right? And I just had gotten this idea to do the live streams. And I was looking at the weather, and it was going to be nice out. This is going back over a month ago. And I'm like, man, what a great idea. I should go down to Woodstock, go right to the monument, set up my, bring a little stool or, whatever, set up my camera and do a live stream from Woodstock. Like, what a great idea, right? So I was all excited about this, and I'm like, I was getting ready. I had a cool set list. I learned a few songs that were played at Woodstock. I was going to play some, like, CSNY and some Hendrix. And so I get down here. It's a Saturday morning. It's like 11 o'clock or maybe it's the afternoon. I don't know. But anyway, I set my little thing up. Nobody's around. There was a car in the parking lot, but they kind of left. And I was like, all right, this is going to be good. So I set the thing up. I press live. I start playing. By the end of the first song, this car pulls in. And this is right at the beginning of the pandemic, right? So I don't know if you remember, but Westchester County was like getting nailed by this thing. And I'm not 5 minutes into the live stream, and this guy shows up, gets out of his car, pulls out a guitar, comes flying over by me, hurries up, he gets the guitar out of the case, he has it in his hand, he's trying to strum along with me. So this is all going on off camera, mind you, and I'm trying to social distance, and it's getting scary up here at this point. And it's cooled out, and the guy, he threw me off. I totally screwed up the song I was playing. I mean, I forgot all the lyrics. I was like, because you think about it, there's this guy off camera that no one can see, and he's hopping around. He's all excited. He's going to jam with somebody. And so I had to shut the thing down, man. I shut the stream down. And then to find out, he came over to shake my hand. I was like, oh, man, I'm really sorry. I can't shake your hand right now. And we started talking from far away. He's like, oh, I'm from Westchester County, came up to see,
man,
see the thing. And if that guy happens to be listening, man, I would love to jam someday. And I have no hard feelings whatsoever, but it really threw me for a loop, man. It kind of freaked me out. So anyway, that was my funny Woodstock story.
Well, Mike, you got to try to do that again. I mean, the thing is there's so many people visiting the monument all the time that this is like your only opportunity to try to pull that off. So maybe you could try to redo it before things get fully reopened again, because it would be cool to see you do, even if you could just get a couple of songs off from that site with that monument behind you in that field and so forth. That was a great idea.
I know. I'm still thinking. I don't want to give it away, but that's all right. I'm thinking about, like, before I leave to head back to Tennessee, like, I'm gonna come down here on like a Tuesday morning at like 8 a.m. or something if it's nice out, and just try to get it in really quick.
Yeah, sneak it in there.
Cool idea. Yeah.
I was up there for the 50th, like I said, and I actually had a funny little story too. I go to the Ringo. I went for Friday night for Ringo Starr, saying that you were there, and I've always gone to the monument first before I've gone into the venue. So I walked down there, and it's like, I don't know, like a half a mile, a mile.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I walk all the way down there because I just want to go take a picture of the monument on the 50th anniversary, and then I want to go up and go inside. Well, everything was way different for that weekend. You had to park your car. You couldn't even be in Woodstock unless you had a ticket because there were so many people that were coming up for the anniversary. There was all this news out there that the Woodstock anniversary was canceled because the other guy doing the other show somewhere nearby canceled his. But Bethel still had a really nice anniversary. Ringo Starr and Santana and John Fogerty. And so I went up for that, and they turned me away.
Wow.
I can't go see the monument. I go, no, you have to go into the venue first. And I'm like, no. I've been here many times. I just want to get a picture of the monument. And I showed them my ticket to the concert. I said, then I'm going to go up and go in. They go, no, you have to come in and walk down through the field. You have to come from the inside.
I know you can do that. Wow.
Yeah, you can. I never did either. Who would want to do that?
Right.
So I'm like, oh man, I just walked all the way down here. This is far. Mike, as a grown man, I hadn't done this since I was a kid. I walked up, and I'm walking over my shoulder, looking over my shoulder, and I hopped the fence.
Nice.
I hopped the fence, and I tried to sneak in just to save myself from walking back that mile. And they caught me. They go, hey, you're the guy that we... And they turned me away.
That's so
and it was
funny.
Man. And I said, all right. They were nice about it. They were laughing, kind of. But, yeah, it was like, a grown man hopping a fence, trying to sneak into the Woodstock monument just because I didn't feel like walking back another mile already. There's something up there in the air that just makes you feel young and free, stuff you normally probably wouldn't do.
I can't believe you just told that story because I don't think I've ever actually told anyone this, and I'm kind of embarrassed, but I'm going to say it because you just admitted that to me. But
I'll tell. Hey, everybody's going to hear this who listens.
But so a couple of years ago, my mom will have a party at the house, and the family will come up. They'll pick which concert they want to go to, and sometimes they do them back to back. Well, Leonard Skinner was playing. I've never seen Skinner. I do admittedly love Skinner. I think their body of work is unbelievable. Anyway, I've seen a lot of bands that I've wanted over the years. I've been very, very lucky. There's very few bands left that I still haven't seen. Anyway, I'm like, man, I've never seen Skinner. So my cousins were down at the festival, and I didn't have a ticket. I stayed home. And, they were probably having a couple of beers or whatever, and they called, and they're like, hey, the show's over. They're going out for the encore or something, or, we're going to be ready in a half hour, whatever the case. And they're like, could you come down and pick them up? Because I don't drink it. And I was like, yeah, I'll, take a ride down, pick you guys up. So I take a ride down, and I get out of the car. I got a real nice spot right up in the front. Like, I just pulled in. I got a parking spot, like, right in the front. And as I'm walking towards the venue, I hear Freebird start. And I tried to walk in the main gate, and the lady, I just tried to walk in as if I had already been in there. And they were like, oh, no, we can't come in. I'm like, oh, well, let me just, try. So I did the same thing, man. I went around the other side of the building, kind of right where I played for Ringo. And there was a little fence there. It was probably about 4 or 5 feet high. I was like, I could get over this fence. So I hopped the fence, and I started making my way to the stage. I just wanted to hear Freebird, just to say I was there to hear Skinner play Freebird. And they totally caught me too, man. They were like, hey. So I've gotten kicked out of Bethel Woods. I send my apologies to the staff if they ever hear this. They've been so good to me over the years. I am humbly and truly sorry, and I will never jump the fence again.
I think you're gonna get a pass for Freebird, man. That's all right.
But you're right, man. There's something in the air up here. It was very out of character for me. I don't really do things like that often. I don't know what got into me. I was like, I gotta hear Freebird.
Well, you've been enjoying the streams, and you've done everything from you did an album in its entirety. Now at the clubs, you've done these. I mean, I see you as an original artist because of all the great records that you've released that we mentioned. We've been playing you on the show now for 12 years or so since Wink, when you gave us your first, all those years ago. But you also do like the Tom Petty shows, the Eric Clapton shows, Grateful Dead shows. there's a lot of potential there for you with these streams, for you to have fun with it potentially for quite a while, right?
That's what I've been doing. I'm glad you asked that. So as of this week, I was going to count them, and I should have done it, but I've really have not repeated many songs. Maybe a total of like 10 songs have been repeated, but I have to be approaching somewhere near 200 songs at this point. So every week I either do 2 or 3 live streams, and I don't repeat any songs. I just keep going. I thankfully I've been, I have quite a body of work of my own stuff. It's close to 100 songs, where I could kind of keep switching those up. And the cover songs, I've been learning new ones. I've been, kind of busting out songs I've never played before. Last week I played like the City of New Orleans, which was a Steve Goodman song I love, made famous by Arlo Guthrie. And just been learning all these cool covers and just random things. And so you're right, it's been really cool. And I haven't even gotten into doing a full like Petty or Clapton stream or Dylan stream or Dead. I mean, I could do all of those things. And the other thing I probably should say is Sunday afternoons at 3:00, I've been doing a all request stream. So I basically turn the camera on at 3:00 on Sunday. I go live. I might have an idea in my head what to play first. Somebody will message me or something. But other than that, I just go right from the stream. I just say, all right, what do you guys want to hear? Let's hear it. And then they just start going. And it's been so fun. It's the closest feeling I've gotten to actually like either, playing like a gig or like a bar gig or just being at a friend's house and playing guitar for people. Like everybody starts chiming in, like play this, play that. And it's been great.
That's so cool.
People, because people kind of know what I like or know, kind of are in the same headspace as me. So I get some pretty out there requests once in a while, but it's just been all, play Petty, play Dylan, play one of your songs, play the band, play Springsteen, play, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. So I just do that for an hour every week. I mean, I've covered everyone from Bryan Adams to Whitney Houston to, I don't even know. It's been great.
I think it's a really nice way for artists to stay in touch with their fans during, this difficult time, and maybe we all learned a little bit something from it. Maybe it's something that a few of the other artists that I've talked to, when you release a new album now, traditionally there has been, the press push, you see if you could get some articles about the record out there in the local arts and entertainment magazines, and you send the record out to radio and the DJs that would be inclined to give you some spins, and you have your little checklist of things to do, and maybe the home live stream is the home live stream is now a part of that as well forever. Maybe that's going to be a part of the package now moving forward, and that's a good thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to work itself out.
It doesn't replace being out there in a bar with fans, and volume, and rattling amplifiers, and people dancing. It's never going to replace that, but maybe it's a component to things now that will become part of the new norm. What do you think?
It is. I think things are going to change, and for me personally, first and foremost, there's nothing I would rather see than us to get a vaccine for this thing or a solution to this thing, or it just go away and have the world go back to normal by the summer and everyone's great. But for me, I have learned that now the Sunday stream that I do, I don't ask for any money. I'm just like, this is just fun. We're having a good time. The other streams that I do, I'll put up just a little, virtual tip jar link, and I'm not doing it for the money. I'm kind of doing it to stay sane. But one thing that I have realized is, as you know, I always stayed really busy. I mean, I play a lot of gigs. I travel a lot. I've been known to just go at it. I mean, it's not unheard of for me to play 12 shows in a row, no break, sometimes multiple gigs a day, doing a noon gig at a party somewhere and then going off to play a night gig at a club or whatever. It just goes on and on. But for me, I've realized that maybe I don't have to kind of run myself as ragged as I used to. I could probably do a stream. People are saying different things about how often to do them. Once again, right now, I'm not really in the mindset of trying to further my career and all this other stuff. I'm just having a good time, and I think other people are having a good time, and I'm not really worried about the whole logistics of the professional yada yada. And that's, not to get too off track, but that's kind of what I like about other artists that I like, more famous artists. They're doing the same thing. There's this guy, Tom Bukovac, the most well sought after session guitar player in Nashville. He's doing this thing called homeschooling on YouTube. Every day he puts another YouTube video up. He just kind of goes live from his phone, and he's in his garage, and there's ladders and behind him, and it's all kind of like, and it's great. I love it. I'm so glad that he's not trying to put a professional background and do everything all right. He's saying silly things. He's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that, or it's a human connection, and it's a I don't know, it's a very genuine interaction that you're having with the person, and that's kind of what I'm going for. But going forward, yeah, I might do a live stream instead of doing that one gig that's 6 hours away. That's going to kind of beat me up for the week or whatever. It is. I've kind of been long-winded with my answer, but my mind has kind of changed because people are here's another component of it. As you know, I caught the very, very, very tail end of, when I turned 21, and probably a little before I was 21, but I was going out a lot. And in the Northeast PA area, if you remember, in the late 90s and early 2000s, people went out. You would go to Hiles on a Monday night, and there would be 300 people there on a Monday night to see a local band. People used to go out. They don't go out like that anymore. That is a dying and there's all sorts of aspects you could get off, the DUIs, the cops crack down on that, which is obviously a good thing. The internet, the home streaming, there's probably a million different answers you could have for that. But the thing about doing the live streams now is that people, who might have kids, who might have a difficult day job, instead of having to worry about coming home and getting ready and going out and traveling somewhere and paying the cover and buying drinks, they could just switch on their smart television, and there I am, and they could, tip me $10 or whatever, and I might end up end up making more money than I would have if I got in my car, put gas in it, drove 3 hours, got something to eat, set my PA up, played the gig. You know what I mean? It's a different thing.
Got home at 4 a.m, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's something that I think we'll all maybe take out of this as one of our memories of it and a positive of it, and the resiliency of the musicians. That it didn't take them long to figure this out. People start doing these things well over a month ago, 5 weeks ago, and now they've gotten organized with it, and some of them are banding together and they're working with venues. And,
yeah,
I think it's really cool, and I've certainly enjoyed some of yours, and I've caught and I've shared them on the Music on the Menu page, to just try to turn more people onto them, and make sure we try to get as many eyes on them and ears on them as I can help you guys with, because the music's great. It's just and it's a nice way when we're all stuck at home to enjoy it and listen to you guys. Now, you mentioned before Nashville is about to reopen up. I was going to ask you about that because I know you friends with Bob Lewis and some of the other musicians from Northeast PA that have also migrated that way. So you kind of answered that question. I was going to ask you what you've heard about Nashville. It sounds like they're going to start plowing forward a little more quickly than Pennsylvania. But have you heard anything about summer festivals or anything, Mike? I know that's also a big part of your touring, routine in the summer. You're usually out there trying to get on some of the big festivals, and you have been. It's May 1st, so psychologically, I think we are now closer to summer. If there's going to be a festival in June and July, and they're on the fence about whether they can have it or not, now that we are officially in May, I think they got to start making those decisions. Have you heard anything?
Yeah, it's been real kind of wishy-washy. I definitely lost a few for sure. And at the time, once again, if you're in upstate New York and you're watching the news every day, you know, I will say that I was way more leaning on the side of good decision. You know, I agree. It sucks once again losing all my income, but there's a few that haven't canceled, and I have one in June, one in July, and one in September, which hopefully by September, I mean, geez, I'm hoping that will still go on. I'm sort of at this point, you know, I hope to think that I'm kind of a reasonable, sane-minded person when it comes to these things. I try to understand people's points of view. I try to look at things from everyone's perspective. If someone's an extreme this way or extreme the other way, I will give you the time of day. I'll hear you out, and I'll come to my own conclusion. I'm still leaning towards the fact that next month, I don't really know if that's a good idea. You know, July maybe,
right.
September. You know, yeah, hopefully. I mean, I'm kind of waiting. You know, I trust these people's judgment. I do. Once again, I'm sort of in the same boat as you. Is like, you know, I also am playing these festivals with the band, and it's like, hey, I need to let my guys know. You know, like, are we playing? Are we not playing? Are they even okay with playing? Because we're all kind of still on the fence. You know, I could be gung ho, but if I don't have a drummer and a bass player, then what am I going to do? You know, or go
right.
find guys that will, and then that turns into a whole other problem. We're in a weird spot right now.
We are.
And I don't know what's going to happen. And honestly, if things continued the way they did and there wasn't a real decrease in the people who are getting sick and overcrowded hospitals, you know, if that was still going on just as strong in you know, mid-June, and people were trying to, you know, have a large gathering, I don't know, man. I would definitely be hesitant. I know that. You know, I think our health and our well-being is the most important thing. I know people were trying to, you know, get the economy going again, and people have to get out and work, and I understand that. But I think Como said it best. You know, he was talking about his mother, and he's like, you know, my mother is not a commodity. She's a human life. And in my mind, human life, you know, trumps all. You know, I mean, yeah, we might be short on the bills, man. Food may get scarce. It may get that bad, but human life trumps everything, man. You know, I want, like nothing else, to see everyone go back to work and to see the economy get better and our standard of living to stay the same. I got off track again. I'm sorry, Alan. But anyway, that's...
Oh, no, actually you didn't. I mean, you know, you're talking about, that is the problem, is, you know, I've said this to so many of the folks that I've interviewed on this podcast series over the past 2 weeks that have been involved with Will Beekman and AJ Jump and people that are involved in event promotion. You know, normally if you postpone a show because someone's sick or the band breaks down or you get a blizzard or something, it's part of the business, and you reschedule the show, and you could usually look at your calendar and reschedule the show right away. You could announce when the show's going to be made up again. Sometimes the same day it's postponed. You look at the show, and, hey, we were supposed to play tomorrow, but we're going to play on June 15th instead. And no one can do that right now. And you know, you're talking about Major League Baseball still hasn't figured out what to do. The NFL, you know, the NBA, the NHL, events where there are 15, 20, 45,000 people a night at some of these events, and they don't know what the hell to do yet. You know, it seems like the answer is going to be a vaccine and more testing, and you know, and in treatment, so that if you get COVID-19, that, you know, it's not necessarily, and I know it's not necessarily a death sentence. I know that a high percentage of people survive. Most of them do. But we need to get to a point where I think you need those three things. You need the vaccine, you need, you know, everybody to be tested and at least be given a clear at some point if they feel they have symptoms. And then if you do get it, you know, that it's like going to the doctor now with something, you know, a flu or something, where they say, okay, take a couple of these and call me in the morning.
Yeah, man.
You know, that's I think when we'll be much more back to normal, and we're not there yet. And so, but I do see some festivals, some summer events that haven't been postponed yet or canceled. And that's why I wanted to ask you about, your take on that. What about those tunes that you sent me a couple months ago, Mike? I'm going to make some of your fans jealous here. Mike and I have a nice friendship, and I've been playing his stuff on the radio for a long time and did a lot of articles about him. So the song Virginia and the song High for Now, Mike did give me an early listen to them. I think it was probably back in February or March. And you're holding off on that for now. They were being mixed, if I recall, or mastered, right?
Yeah. I'm glad you talked about that. I had been planning on releasing them in March. That didn't happen. A lot of the, just quite frankly, a lot of the funds that I was, going to make playing all the gigs that I had lined up were going to go into the proper release of those things, because it does cost money to release songs. I almost just released them and sent them out to the wind a couple weeks ago, but I kind of hesitated. I was like, I feel really good about these songs, and I should probably at least do it properly. So I'm waiting to get back to Nashville. But just a little summary. I recorded those songs in a place called Gold Cassette, live with a killing band of like Nashville, just like phenomenal session players, and it's just a great story, man. I used the engineer and the guitar player who played on all Luke Combs stuff, and actually my buddy Saul, he played on a Luke Combs song just this week that they're releasing today. If you don't know Luke Combs, he's like one of the biggest country stars going today. He's great. I'm not really
talked a little about this in the Weekender story that we did a few months ago. I've reposted that on Music on the Menu. If you want to read all about Mike's experiences in Nashville and some of the people he's worked with, that article is also posted right now on Music on the Menu at Alan K. Stout. But tell us a little bit about it here. Because it's always good. Reading on the page is cool, but in your own words, that was a great experience for you, hooking up with some of those people.
Yeah, it just I got really lucky down there. I got right in the mix real quick, and we recorded the songs. We did the overdubs. Nikki Bloom, who's one of my favorite singers, came and sang some harmonies, and then we had them mixed by Craig Alvin, who is multiple Grammy winner. He won Grammy of the Year, not this year but the year before, for all his work with Casey Musgraves, who I really like. And then the cherry on top was Pete Lyman did the mastering. Pete is one of the most highly sought after mastering engineers. He's done all anything from Chris Stapleton, Jason Isbell, Sturgill Simpson, John Prine, Brandy Carlisle, Weezer. The list just goes on and on. But he's mastered some of my favorite records in the world, and I got to go over there. I did a session actually at his place too, him and Reed, over the summer. But I could talk about that stuff forever. I just had some great experiences down there, and these songs are they're kind of, I've never been around people of that caliber, and it was really cool just to be right there and amongst the mix and working with these people and sitting in a room with a bunch of Grammys. Pretty neat, man.
I appreciate you sharing those tunes with me a couple of months ago, and I thought that we were going to be able to premiere them on the show soon. That you were giving me an early listen of a week or two, but obviously that was exactly when everything started changing, right around like March.
I know.
And so, we will look forward to playing them on the show. I'm not even on the air right now, the casino's closed. And so that's where, you've been my guest many times. That's where our studio is. So my thing was, well, what can I do to kind of work through COVID-19 and maybe support some of these artists? I never like to use the word support when it comes to musicians, because I feel it's almost insulting. You're going to support I'm going to go out and support my favorite local band. Like, you support the Red Cross, like when you donate blood. You support charity, your favorite charity, if you make a monetary donation. But, it's sort of sacrificial, it's like you're giving something up. And, for music, I never looked at it that way. Hey, I'm going out to see my favorite band because they're great, because it's fun, because I love the music. I don't feel like I'm supporting them. I feel like we're doing something together. It's communal and it's celebratory. And so I've never really liked to use the word support when I'm talking about anything that I've done with writing columns or radio shows or anything with music, but I guess right now I will use that word because the podcast series is my way of trying to, let you guys tell your stories, check in, see how everybody's doing, get their perspective on all of this, and maybe even sort of document it for ourselves for a time when we could look back on it in a different way. So I really appreciate you taking some time out this morning and telling us some great stories, Mike.
I love everything you just said too, man, about the support. That's a really, really cool mind frame or school of thought that you just kind of presented. That was really neat, Alan. And you're welcome, man. I'm happy to do this. Yeah, hopefully this time next year we could be listening to this and thinking, wow, man, that was crazy. I'm so glad we're back to normal. I really hope that's the case.
Me too, my friend. Me too. I look forward to playing those new songs on the radio and coming out to the Jazz Cafe and seeing you play. And whenever you're there, I always make sure I pop back to say hello and catch up with you. And hopefully we'll be doing that again sometime, within the next couple of months.
Yeah, and real quick here, last thing I wanted to say, I kind of haven't really told anyone. I haven't really told anyone this, but I'm about 95% sure that I had COVID.
Oh my!
I got insanely sick in late February into early March. Very long story short, like I said, I was in the Poconos. I went to see some friends. I saw a buddy of mine was like, "Hey man, yeah, good to see you. Big hug, the whole thing." And he's like, "Oh man, I have this terrible cold." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, And he's next to me, and we're hanging out, eating and whatever else. And
yeah.
And man, about a week later, I got so sick like I've never been sick, where I woke up that morning fine. By 2 p.m. in the afternoon, I was like, oh, I kind of feel a little funny. And by 6 p.m., I was literally in bed with, covered in blankets, shaking, freezing, body aches. My fever went to 105.9.
Man.
I immediately went to the emergency room. I took a whopping dose of acetaminophen, and this was before any of this was really happening. And they were like, they tested me for the flu. They're like, well, you don't have the flu. But then they did a lung X-ray, and they're like, well, you definitely have early stages of pneumonia. And anyway, it was really, really, really bad. And I was kind of traveling and staying up all night with my grandmother and not eating well, and I think my immune system was a little shot at the time. But I'm in some strange way. Anyway, I got through it. I'm glad that if I did have it, I didn't know that I had it, because I would have been totally freaked out. But I'm kind of hoping that I have some sort of antibody or what have you to, I'm really kind of. It's a crazy thing, man. It's a crazy thing to think that I might have already had it and was one of the first people to sort of go through it, because by the end of a week or two later, we were in full quarantine and all that stuff.
And Monroe County, where you were, the Poconos, that was the hot spot early on here. There you go. They were popping up there before. They had multiple cases in Monroe County before Luzerne or Lackawanna County. That was the first spot here in the Northeast PA region where it was showing up. So you may have, my friend. You may
have. Crazy. Yeah, I haven't really talked about that much, but I'm just hoping that, I don't know. In some weird way, I hope I had it, and I hope I don't get it again. I hope I could kind of go on with my life. Or if I knew I had it, I'd probably actually volunteer. If I knew I couldn't get it again and it was a 100% chance that I couldn't, I'd probably try to do something to help out or something. So I'm really hoping that I could get some kind of test here at some point. But anyway, I don't know. I just felt like
I'm glad. I'm sorry you had to go through that, and I'm glad that you got through it okay. Because I've heard some other folks say as well, not no one personally like you just told me, but I've seen some people online saying, I think I had it in January, and there's been some discussions like that out there. Who knows? I mean, we're just trying to get our head around this thing. The best doctors in the world still trying to get their head around this thing. So
scary.
Well, I'm glad you made it through that all right, and thanks for sharing that story. Keep everybody aware of how easy that is for that to happen to somebody. You're just meeting up with some old good friends, having a good time, and couple days later, a day or two later, you got 105 fever, which I've never had in my life. I can't even imagine.
Me neither, man. I freaked out. It was real scary. So yeah, the point of the matter is, I think the stay home and the wear a mask and keep it. I think it's a really good thing. I know some people are kind of rubbing against that idea, but I'm a huge supporter of doing the right thing and just being as safe as possible.
I think that's a good way to conclude our conversation here this morning.
For sure.
Stay as safe as possible. You do the same. Everybody out there tuning in, we appreciate it. Mike, thanks so much for your time this morning. It was I think the conversations are getting a little bit lighter now, and we're starting to maybe see the light at the tunnel. And
me too.
So I appreciate you actually given us a couple good laughs this morning as well. It was some fun stories there. So thanks again for your time.
Yeah. No problem, man. It was really great talking to you.
All right, hang in there, buddy.
Will do. You too.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.